What's going on, y'all? It's Terrence, the therapist. Thank you guys for tapping in. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you guys know when these videos are about to drop. Now, today I want to take some time just to tell you guys what therapy is not. And I feel like this is important, especially if you are new to therapy or if you're currently in therapy. I think there always needs to be insight on what therapy is not so that you can go into therapy, manage your expectations, and knowing how to properly get the help that you need in the manner that will be beneficial to you. Now, there's three things I'm going to cover that's going to break down what therapy is not. The first thing is therapy is not a pop-up shop. Now you may ask, what do you mean by a pop-up shop? If you guys ever been to a farmer's market or like a swap meet, these are examples of what pop-up shops are. I know when I had my small business, I would always do pop-up shops. And these pop-up shops usually will help smaller businesses get exposure and sales. Basically how I would set it up, I would either be at Leimert Park, the Crenshaw Mall, Long Beach, or at Melrose. And I would set up my items to sell. And normally it's kind of like you go when you are able to, or you go when you feel like you may need to. And customers would come and buy things in the same respect when they felt like they needed to come. And they needed to maybe re-up on some of your products, or maybe something they really liked that they wanted to get again. Now, how I compare therapy as not being a pop-up shop is therapy doesn't work in the manner of you just kind of show up when you want to, or you just pop up on your therapist when you want to, or therapists just kind of pop up on their clients and just start conducting therapy. I see this a lot when I work with folks, like, folks may come in and they want therapy, and there may be this big gap, maybe 2 months, 3 months, and then we reconnect. And it's kind of like this dance that we do. It's like somebody may want services and then may fall off and then come back again, like, oh, okay, well, I want to start again. Now, the reason why you can't really do therapy or really get the best out of therapy when you treat it like a pop-up shop and you just come as you want is because you really don't get the full benefits of what therapy is if you're not really making intentional time and scheduling appointments with your therapist. And there's a lot that goes on in 2 months, you know what I'm saying? And you have to be consistent with your appointments and not miss appointments and not just pop up when you feel like you would like to. And typically, if you're working with a good therapist, they won't allow you to just kind of pop up when you want to, or just pop up when you can. Now, there are some agencies that will allow that because there isn't a cancellation policy like that, and you can just kind of just, come in when you want, and that's perfectly fine. Sometimes that may work for some folks. But there is a lot of things that you miss when you do treat therapy as a pop-up shop. Like I was saying before, there sometimes is these cancellation policies, and usually there's a fee associated with your cancellations. So cancellation fees can run from $50, $100, or even $200, right? So if you have numerous no-shows or it just kind of pop up when you want, those no-show fees continue to add up. And ethically, as therapists, we won't keep charging you these fees knowing that you are not ready to participate in treatment. And this is something where the therapist will step in and have a conversation with the person participating in therapy and maybe revisiting the cancellation or expectations of continuing therapy. Now, I don't want to get this confused with emergencies. Usually there is a protocol that you have with your therapist that's in your treatment plan that will address emergencies. And I also want to clarify too that, hey, you may have an emergency, you may have to pop up on your therapist, or you have to maybe call them or contact them. That's not what I'm getting at right now, where I'm talking about people treating therapy like a pop-up shop. You want to use those emergency services, you want to use those 24-hour hotlines, whatever your therapist has set for you to do when there is an emergency or a crisis. The other flip side to that as well is we know life happens. We know life happens, and that you may not be able to make all your appointments, and maybe there's something that happened within that month and you took some time off and now you want to get back into treatment. Which leads me to my second point. Maybe therapy is not for you if you're not ready. Sometimes readiness does come in making sure that you are able to schedule set times and be able to attend your sessions. And it's perfectly okay if you're not ready to participate in therapy. It's no love lost. That's where you have to really have an honest conversation with yourself just to see if you are ready to participate in therapy. Now, being ready and being intimidated are two different things. Being intimidated to go to therapy is real. It's very scary to go to therapy, especially if you're going for the first time and there is still a lot of stigma around mental health and participating in therapy, you may see that intimidation as not being ready, when you may just have to take that leap of faith and just bet on yourself to participate in services. So being intimidated and being ready for therapy are two different things. And that's again where you have to have that honest conversation with yourself to see if this is a readiness issue, or am I listening to the stigmas that's associated with mental health, and that's why I am not participating in mental health. And also, with that being said, there usually isn't a perfect time to start therapy. Just like anything else in our life, there usually isn't a perfect time just to start, but you have to take that initiative to get the help that you deserve. The third thing is, therapy is not a place to seek advice. Now, you might have a lot of confusion about this, like, hey, I thought therapy was somewhere I can go and somebody will tell me what to do, and we're gonna stop right there. Therapy is not a place where you seek somebody to tell you what to do. Now, therapists, what we normally would do is give encouragement, we give insight, but we don't tell folks what to do. Our job is not to tell folks what to do. And even sometimes in the most backward situations where you're like, hey, like, you have to tell this person what to do. I'll use this as an example. If somebody is in the domestic violence relationship and they come into seeking therapy, a therapist's job is not to tell this person to get out of that relationship. The therapist's job is to assess what the needs are of the person coming in and to address those needs and help them maneuver through their goals. And maybe sometimes it's implied that they want to get out of that relationship. This is where we create safety plans in our treatment plans, where we may refer somebody to shelters, or we may refer them to safe havens so that they are in a safe place. But we don't tell them to break up with the person, or we don't tell them to get out of that relationship, because our job is not to tell folks what to do. Working with a therapist is like taking a road trip. You are in the driver's side, but your therapist is right next to you in the passenger seat, helping you and assisting you to get to your destination. And if you are receiving advice, you might want to have a conversation with your therapist. And again, our job is to assist clients with specific goals they may have and the reason why they came into treatment. I hear many, many times of folks that go into therapy, even when I was in therapy myself, that the therapist would tell you what to do. Now, giving homework or giving insight or giving clarity on certain things, that's not telling you what to do. I hear these stories, and the stories I have for myself, it just doesn't sit right. It doesn't feel right when somebody's telling you what to do, especially if you have a background of somebody being manipulative or somebody telling you what to do. It can be very triggering to you, and it can really turn you off of not going to or participating in therapy. And you may not understand or realize that trigger, like, hey, I didn't really vibe with my therapist. Well, probably the reason why you didn't vibe with your therapist is because they were telling you what to do. I hope this video resonated with you guys as you're going through your healing journey, or if you're in therapy or thinking about therapy. I think these are some things that you need to really key in on and think about what your expectations are even after this video going into therapy. Thank you again. My name is Terrence, the therapist. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. Until next time, you guys take care. Peace.